This is a sample audio of only the scene with Viktor's speech to a prestigious audience. Do not copy or distribute it. This is an original Canadian closet screenplay called From Victim to Viktor, an interpretation of the ideas of Viktor E. Frankl, and was written and read by the author Michael Sinderovich. This audio, all rights are reserved. Viktor Frankl is well known for his 1940s classic, Man's Search for Meaning. He spent over 2 years in concentration camps, including Auschwitz. After the war, he made contributions to therapy and philosophy at a level comparable to other well-known people such as Adler and Freud. I am presenting my narrative through the format of a closet screenplay, an audio narrative that reads like a screenplay. I would like to make it clear that when I pretend to present Viktor E. Frankl giving speeches or comments in fictional scenes, such as the speech to a prestigious audience or the cafe scene, that these are not actual speeches or discussions that were given by him. And now, sit back, relax, and on with From Victim to Viktor. The second half of From Victim to Viktor begins with a speech to a prestigious audience. After the break, the new scene is in the dressing room of a person preparing to give a speech. It quickly becomes apparent that the person preparing to give the speech is person A, who is now identified as Viktor E. Frankl. He is a tall, dignified-looking person who has recovered from the person in rags he was during the war. He is preparing to give a speech to a very prestigious audience. There is much hustle and bustle going on, and he is very excited and going through much care in the dressing room for the occasion. He is clearly in awe with himself that this day has arrived. This leads into his introduction to the real audience, who play the part of the prestigious audience he is lecturing to. With much grace and confidence, he walks over to the lecture podium and takes command of the stage. Viktor Frankl. Where do I come from? I was born in 1905, slowly asking the audience. Was it an important year? Maybe. Drawing out the word maybe. Einstein, an unknown patent clerk, had out of nowhere written his famous trilogy of articles, which shook the scientific world. Did I have promise as a medical doctor? Maybe. I had by 1942 held many senior positions in Vienna medical hospitals. Did I have promise as an intellectual thinker and writer? Maybe. I had written articles as early as 1923, and by 1942 I had written the draft of a book on therapy, which, if you ask me, was world class, with potential to be a major boom to all mankind. Did I have the potential for international status? Maybe. I was recognized enough on the world stage that I could have used my influence to leave Vienna for the United States, but I chose not to do so for personal reasons, to stay with my parents. Was my direction in life controlled by spiritual forces and fate? Maybe. As I grappled with the question of leaving for the United States, through the American embassy, or staying in Vienna, my father picked up a broken piece of marble stone from a looted synagogue. The broken and burned piece contained the Hebrew letter which abbreviates one of the 10 Commandments, "Honor thy father and mother, and you will dwell in the land." And it may have played a part in me remaining with my parents until all of us were taken to concentration camps, them to their death, me to the story about the rest of my life. Was my decision to stay with them a good one? Maybe. And maybe not. When I first came to Auschwitz in 1943, with my parents taken, my family dispersed, my worldly possessions taken, my clothes taken, and even the precious manuscript I had written taken, did I have anything of value left in my life? Not maybe. Definitely yes. I had developed insights and treatments for helping patients which I recognized to be far-reaching and almost revolutionary in their simplicity. I had a passion in my field of medicine, and through my passion and hard work had made some breakthroughs in thinking and perception, which I appreciated were of inestimable value to many of mankind's suffering people. It would be hard to appreciate the excitement that was going on in the intellectual fields in the early 20th century. But for those of us that were drawn into it, our appreciation of what man is capable of understanding and creating left us in awe. And in a sense, we became addicts, questing for understanding and knowledge. In 1943, a part of me heard from my parents, my wife, and my extended family, which had been thrown into chaos and suffering. But a part of me also hurt because the gifts of healing and helping that I wanted to give so dearly to the world seemed also to be being torn from me, like fluff, having little chance of ever reaching the light of day. Was it necessary for me to go through the horrors of 3 years in concentration camps to test my model? I can't bring myself to say it was, but I've seen many mysteries of the way life and lives unfold. So maybe it was. Maybe it was. I am a doctor of medicine and a doctor of philosophy. And if the following ideas seem a bit overwhelming and intellectual, so be it, because these are my passions. Step 1 in coming to understand the ideas I want to share with you is, we can accomplish much and get through anything in life if we have a meaning in our lives. I have come to understand this through many experiences in my life, from the horrors of my experiences in the camps during the 1940s, during my observations at hospitals in the 20s and 30s, from the discussions with many other survivors who shared their experiences and insights with me, and also from reading many research studies which have independently substantiated what I learned through my experiences and insights. So let me repeat, a will to meaning is a strong motivator in all our lives. The value to our inner spiritual needs of having meaning in our lives cannot be overemphasized. And this leads to the next question. What gives meaning to our lives? For this there are several answers, and I will organize them into 3 categories. Reference 2. Some people find meaning in their lives by creating a work or doing a deed. These are the artists, builders, scientists, researchers, doctors, and even businessmen amongst us. Others find meaning by experiencing something or encountering someone. These are the blessings we feel when we experience the good, truth, the beautiful, or by knowing a special person in all their uniqueness. By loving. You most clearly know this through the love of your husband, wife, child, mother or father, and how your feelings of love for this person fulfills your life in some way. But you will say, what of the people who find themselves in what appears to be hopeless situations? These people can't be active or creative, and for the most part, their lives consist of suffering. These are the old amongst us, the sick, the politically dictated, and people suffering with incurable diseases. You're right. For these people, it isn't always clear to be able to see that their life can have meaning. But to this let me say, meaning can even be found for them through the attitude they take towards the unavoidable and inescapable suffering they find themselves burdened with. I look at you. Some of you are fired up. It's easy for me to say, have a good attitude with your unavoidable suffering. But I don't know what you're going through. You are right. I don't. But I do know that your attitude is one of the few things you have left under your control. And your attitude, especially when suffering unavoidably, may be the only thing you have left at your disposal. Your pain and your hurt may be very deep, but let me tell you, you can still have and give meaning in your life. My experiences, observations, and research with people's attitudes during inescapable suffering has led me to one of my most difficult and challenging insights, which I will share with you. Life has a meaning to the last breath under any and all situations. Rev 3. If I can just rekindle this one bit of knowledge hidden in your spirit and soul, then you will have learned more than I could teach you from all the books I've written, all the articles I've authored, all the lectures I've had the honor to deliver, all the patients who have shared and taught me, and all my fellow doctors and researchers who I've been honored to meet, from Freud and Adler to many lesser known but still highly capable people. I repeat, life has a meaning to the last breath under any and all situations. Who am I talking to? Is it the senior who now finds himself alone in his silent apartment? Is it the aged widow who finds herself alone and unneeded when she still has so much to give? Who am I talking to? Is it the young inner city child who is filling his arm with heroin? Is it the young Indian child who, after finishing another bottle of liquor, ponders with his friends how best to take his own life? Who am I talking to? Is it the lost generation of 40-year-olds who are drunk in their Moscow slums and who have lost all hope for having a family, children, a job, or any sense of worth? Is it the ragged old bag lady and other homeless people who have fallen through the cracks? Who am I talking to? It is to all of them. And yes, it is to all of you. Life is a task. Rev 3. What is the meaning of your life? Is a question life asks of you. And you should learn to answer the question, not ask it. Rev 2. By now the speaker should be visually shaken and exhausted, and he can massage his face and head. Thank you for letting me share these ideas with you. Short pause, and then the curtain falls. If the audience has been aroused, he can take an additional bow for the audience as he might do in a real lecture. I hope that one day, as in most good plays, you'll be able to go see the play and see the final scene. Have a good day and many good tomorrows. L'chaim. Some referred to books by Viktor E. Frankl. Reference 1, abbreviated as Ref 1, The Will to Meaning, Foundations and Applications of Logotherapy, Expanded Edition. Ref 2, Man's Search for Meaning, Revised and Updated. Ref 3, The Doctor and the Soul, From Psychotherapy to Logotherapy, Revised and Expanded. If you would like clearer clarifications of Viktor Frankl's ideas, experiences, and the logotherapy approach, you should refer to more formal sources such as the Viktor Frankl Institute, various logotherapy institutes, and other books, articles, and sources by or about him. Thank you for listening.